What's goody? Hey man, sorry for not the best lighting right now. You know, it's a little bit of a gloomier. It's not actually that gloomy of a day compared to some other days. We just don't have that much light coming into this room right now. But hey, we gotta do what we gotta do. It's 1:57 p.m. and there's not that much light coming through the room. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Usually, I might. Maybe it's because I feel like I normally record these videos maybe later in the evening towards like 4 or something. So maybe that's why. Anyways, we're back with another one of our top 5 position rankings going into the 2025-2026 season, and today we are coming with, you guessed it, shooting guards. Man, I hope y'all enjoyed the point guard list, and if y'all didn't, please go and watch it. It is the last video, not the last video I dropped, because the last video I dropped was my NFL picks and predictions for this week, so it'll be the video that I dropped Wednesday. Should have dropped around like 6 p.m., maybe a little after 6 p.m. on Wednesday night. Eastern time, so go look for that. If you didn't watch that one, go ahead and watch that one before you watch this one, or after. But let's get into it, man. So, I'm going to tell you right now. I just listed, the first thing I did when I think about this list is I was like, okay, let me go through, let me look at last year's standings, let me just go through each team, and let me think of all the shooting guards. Let me, as soon as I think of the starting shooting guard for that team, let me think, write them down if I think there's somebody that I would even think of for this pool. I ended up writing down 8 names for this 5-man list. Obviously, I got it down to I ended up getting it down to the top 5, but these are my honorable mentions. Starting off with Tyler Hero, who technically does not count because he was being counted as a point guard according to Miami's depth chart. But when I first thought of this list, I did think of Tyler Hero. Point guard is a bit more of a loaded position, so Tyler Hero would not have made it on my point guard list either. So I did include him as a shout out or an honorable mention here. He was my 8th guy. 7th guy, Mikal Bridges. Some of you might be surprised at him being the 7th guy having this list. Some of you might think that's too high. I feel like a lot of y'all are probably going to think that's a little low. But I have 2 very big problems with Mikal Bridges' game right now that are keeping him kind of lower on this list, and we'll get into those a little bit later as we continue to talk about him. But there's some great things about him, right? I'm not a Mikal Bridges hater or anything. He's just not in my top 5. He's still the Iron Man of the NBA. He's played 82 games in each of the last 4 seasons. He's been a consistently productive player every year of his career, but especially since that year he went to the finals with Phoenix and finished top 3 in Defensive Player of the Year voting. Last year, he averaged 17, 3, and 4 on 50, 35, 81 splits. That was his first year in New York, mind you, and he was the 3rd option on a 50-win 3-seed conference finals team, which is a big deal. That is very impressive. However, like I said, those are really impressive. Those are good numbers. As a 3rd option, those are phenomenal numbers. He's one of the best 3rd options in basketball easily. There's a couple of guys on this list that are some of the best 3rd options in basketball. Shout out to Austin Reeves, who did not make this list, but I did think about him. He probably would have been like my 9th guy. After this year, he'll probably be an honorable mention on this list. Anyways, especially with LeBron now being out till maybe mid-November, which changes some things that I was thinking about with regards to the Lakers and two of LeBron's teammates. Anyways, here are my problems with Mikal Bridges. In the playoffs, severely, and I mean severely underperformed. And I'm about to give you some numbers that prove that. But if you watch the playoffs, you recognize that Mikal Bridges just kind of wasn't having his best series, his best performances. Mikal Bridges was kind of just out there a lot of times. He might have hit a couple of random mid-ranges to make his stats look good, but it would be like 12 points on 5 of 10 shooting. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't be anything crazy. You'd just be looking like, is this all Mikal Bridges can give you? Like, there's no way. He averaged just 15, 4, and 3 on 45, 33, 75 splits. Let me remind you of what his splits were in the regular season. In the regular season, playing 82 games, this man averaged 17, 3 rebounds, 4 assists on 50% from the field, 35% from 3, 81% from the free throw line splits in his first year. In the playoffs, he averaged 15, 2 point less, 4 rebounds, 1 rebound more, 3 assists, which is 1 assist less, and his splits went from 50 to 45, from 35 to 33, and from 81 to 75. My man couldn't even shoot free throws the same in the playoffs. And he got to the line less than once a game. I think the number was exactly 0.9. That was a career low for the playoffs, and if he would have done that in the regular season, it would have been a career low for the regular season as well. The man shot 75%, which is 6% lower from the free throw line in the playoffs than he did in the regular season, and he only got there less than once a game. That means in the games they played last year, that man probably got to the free throw line a total of, in that whole playoff run, 20 times. Probably. And hit 75% of them. So you hit 15 of those 20, if I had to guess. That's just a rough estimate. It's not good enough, man. He was 22nd percentile in points per shot attempt and 22nd percentile in turnover percentage in the playoffs. That's just not good enough either. As a third option, you have to be able to handle the ball at least a little bit. So being 22nd percentile in turnover percentage and 22nd percentile in points per shot attempt, that means when you were shooting the ball, it wasn't going in, and then when you had the ball, you were turning it over too much. In the playoffs, when the game slows down the most, when every possession counts even more. Defensively, he was just as bad, so you don't have any savings there. He's not that defensive player of the year caliber guy anymore. It's sad to say. He was 37th percentile in points per possession and 39th percentile in opponent effective field goal percentage. When he was on the court, guys scored more per possession. The other team scored more points per possession. When he was on the court, the other guy shot a better field goal percentage. This is a guy that finished third in DPOY 4 seasons ago. He's 28. He's not 40. And I literally want to say right now, I'm not a Mikal Bridges hater, but it felt like every single shot in the playoffs he took was a miss unless it was going to be that little fadeaway midi. Any shot that wasn't that little fadeaway midi I thought was a miss. And those random like corner threes he would hit off of like a baseline out of bounds play where he would just catch it and shoot a fading corner three and it would just be cash every time. Besides from those 2 shots, every shot it felt like was going to miss. I didn't care if it was a layup. It felt like he was passing up layups just to shoot that fadeaway midi. I'm not trading 5 first-round picks for a man that just averaged 21 points to come out here and be ass and then rather shoot a fadeaway midi than a wide-open layup. Are you Ben Simmons? He just damn near retired. We don't want that to be you. There were just so many times in the playoffs where I was looking at this man and I was like, there's no way New York fans can try to convince me that this is worth 5 first-round picks. And ultimately, I just can't get over that right now. I can't even get over that to the point where I put him at 6th on my list, let alone top 5. Number 6, Derek White. In my first draft of this list, I actually had Derek White as my 5th guy. But I actually I did my research. I went to my Cleaning the Glass free trial, shout out Cleaning the Glass. And I went to Basketball Reference, and I was doing my Googles, and I was doing my research, and I was trying to think back about all the Derek White that I watched, because as a Jason Tatum fan and as a guy that thought the Celtics were going to go back-to-back, I was watching a lot of Celtics this year. So I'm just thinking back. I'm thinking back about the things I was remembering. I'm thinking back about the things in the playoffs that I'm watching. And I'm like, Derek White deserves to be in the top 5. And then I looked at his numbers compared to the guy at number 5, and I just couldn't do it. His numbers, good year. 16, 4, and 5, 44, 38, 84 from the field. But I also have to remember this guy carried a lighter offensive load last year than any of these other guys. Mikal has Cat and Jalen Brunson, and he was bad for the standards that I have for him. So, in the playoffs at least. So, that's why he's behind him. But the guys ahead of him, I'm going to tell you right now, these guys ahead of him were not on bad teams aside from one of them. But didn't nobody have a team like Derek White where you were the defending champions and most people thought you had the best, if not the second or third best roster in the NBA? It was like y'all, the Cavs, and OKC, and really going into the season, it was really like y'all and like the Nuggets, kind of, were like thought of as the top 2 teams. Y'all, you have on your team Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. We didn't know what we were going to get from Porzingis. It didn't end up being a lot. We didn't know what we were going to get from Jrue Holiday. It didn't end up being a lot. But then Peyton Pritchard goes out there and has a 6th Man of the Year season. Al Horford goes out there and proves that he is still just a phenomenal role player, even at this age. So, yeah, I mean, I just have to remember that, yeah, his numbers are good, and I have to value that, and I value his impact. But you have to also remember while he's playing on the biggest stages of basketball, he's not asked to carry as quite a big of a load as these other guys are, Pauls. Defensively, though, he makes up for that because he is one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, and that's undisputable. He has been either all defensive or top 10 in Defensive Player of the Year voting for all of the last 3 years. He's easily one of the most impactful players in the NBA, and all of the on-off numbers prove it. His impact is a positive in every on-off area besides offensive rebounding, or it might just be total rebounding, but besides rebounding, which he's a guard. I'm not surprised. When he's coming in, it's probably taking out Al Horford or Kristaps Porzingis and just leaving one big on the floor. So, yeah, the rebound is going to go down a little bit. Oops. But everything else gets better. And I think this year is going to be a big one for Derek White with Jason Tatum out. And Jason Tatum, I really hope you stay out for the whole year just to rehab. While I love watching you hoop, I would just, as a fan of you, it's the idea of you coming back so soon scares me. Obviously, I pray that you do whatever's in God's will for you. Don't listen to me. Listen to God. Listen to you. Not my decision. I don't know. I haven't spoken to you in my life, I don't think. So, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, this year will show us, I think, just how good Derek White can be. Because Jason Tatum's going to be out, he's really going to kind of be like the number 2 option. Him or Peyton Pritchard, I think he'll probably be the number 2 option. But at the same time, I don't think there's anything that can happen this year. Like, Derek White could have a bad year, and it wouldn't change the fact that that Derek White is still the exact type of player that every good team wants. There's nothing that Derek White could do this year that would make me think, he's not that player anymore. I would just be like, it was a weird year. You know what I'm saying? He would have to do it the next year after that, because I think he is that type of player that every good team would want, that type of player that every contender needs. And I think having that type of skill set while consistently performing on the biggest stages like the NBA Finals means a whole lot to me. Last year in the playoffs, in what was a weird playoffs for Boston, an underwhelming playoffs for Boston, he got even better. His numbers got even better than they were in the regular season. He was which to me was a massive part of the reason why when I originally drafted this list, he was higher. He was number 5 on this list over a guy that you'll hear next. In the playoffs, he averaged 19, 5, and 3 on 46, 39, 86 splits. While he was also 100th, he was in the 100th percentile for points per shot attempt in the playoffs last year. So his splits went from 16, 4, and 5 to 19, 5, and 3, and they went from 44, 38, 84 to 46, 39, 86, and he was in the 100th percentile for points per shot attempt in the playoffs last year. That means he was one of the most efficient scorers in the playoffs last year for his volume of shots. That's something that's extremely impressive when you consider who all is in the playoffs. And granted, he's not taking the volume of shots as some 1A guys, but there's still some other really, really good role players, not just at his position, but just in the league that are taking some shots. Like, you might think somebody like J-Dub might be there because he's a number 2 and he's not getting as many shots as Shea. Shea takes a lot, but he might have 40 and be 11 for 13. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I'm a big Derek White fan. I feel like he positively impacts winning always, and sometimes there are moments where I'm just like, what are you doing? I feel like he's taking shots, and I'm like, maybe right there you pass to Jason Tatum or something. But overall, when you watch Derek White, you see why he's a winning player. You see that he's one of those guys that you would want on your team if you were to start a team. And while I do love his impact, I think just player for player, I would probably rather have all of the 5 guys ahead of him. So that's ultimately just why he's an honorable mention to me. Into the top 5 now. Desmond Bane. I'm not the biggest Desmond Bane guy. There are guys in this world who are huge Desmond Bane fans, and I'm not one of them. But I think a big reason why is because I am a huge Steph Curry guy. So when Dillon Brooks and John Morant and all those guys were talking so much trash to Steph Curry, I, as a Steph Curry guy, loved watching Steph Curry put them down, making me not much of a Desmond Bane guy. So now I'm kind of excited to watch him on the Magic because I think I'm going to be able to watch him with kind of a clear mind now that I'm more mature, but also now that he's not with the Grizzlies anymore. I think he has a ton of abilities that the Magic desperately need. I think this is a year that he has a massive opportunity to jump up on a lot of people's rankings, or at least just get some more respect, or kind of break out in a way to where he's looked at as maybe like an all-star-ish level guy, like if not an all-star, then maybe an all-star snub level guy. Like, I think he could jump up to that level this year, because last year he already was averaging 19, 6, and 5 on 48, 39, 89 splits. He's damn near a 50, 40, 90 player while averaging damn near 26 and 5. That's insane. He was on a 48-win 8 seed, and that's with Ja missing 30 games. So this guy was the number 2 option for a 48-win team in the Western Conference for a significant chunk of the season. That's more than a third of the season. He was 90th percentile in usage and 96th percentile in assist percentage in the regular season, which honestly was a big reason why I moved him up this list, because I had no idea he was this efficient of a playmaker, and I didn't know that he was being asked to take on this big of a playmaking role. And I just didn't know that his numbers were this good overall. But the one thing that ended up dropping for him was another thing that ended up dropping Mikal Bridges for me. It's them playoff numbers, bro. They're bad. He went from 19, 6, and 5 to 15, 7, and 3. His efficiency went from 48, 39, and 89 to 32, 22, and 93. 32, 22, and 93. Jonathan Isaac damn near might have shot a better percentage from the field than that. Jared Vanderbilt. You're right, let me chill. But you understand what I'm saying. 32, 92, ignore the 93% from the free throw line, because that's the only place where you can still shoot. But dog, 32% from the field, 22% from 3 isn't crazy. And now I get it. You're going against OKC, but dog, you have 4 turnovers a game during that, what was it, a 4-game series? Your points per shot attempt went from the 83rd percentile in the regular season to the 29th percentile in the playoffs. Your turnover percentage was 12th percentile in the playoffs. like I said, you played without Ja for some games against an incredible OKC defense, but a drop like that is inexcusable, bro. And what really shocked me wasn't even just how bad those playoff numbers were, because I kind of remembered that and I kind of expected that. It was how bad his defense was throughout the entirety of the regular season. He was 32nd percentile or worse in every single defensive stat that cleaning the glass covers. Let me tell you some defensive stats that cleaning the glass covers. It's points allowed per 100 possessions, effective field goal percentage allowed, turnover percentage allowed, or turnover percentage, offensive rebound percentage allowed, and free throw rate allowed. This guy was 32nd percentile or worse in all of those stats for the entirety of the regular season last year. This is a guy that was thought of as one of the best 3-and-D guys in the league. Not no more. I mean, thank God your offense is still good, but my goodness, the defense is this bad to where you're a net negative at this point. Like you're not just like a mediocre defender right now. You're a net negative defensively. And I mean, I get it. You have Jaren Jackson on the back end, but like that's kind of surprising to me that you play that many minutes with Jaren Jackson and your defensive numbers still look that bad. That damn near makes it even more impressive that they're that ass. Basically, the on-off numbers hated him on every side of the ball, on both sides of the ball. And this year, I'm definitely going to make it a point to see if that is reality or if that's just the numbers saying that. And I kind of really, I wish I would have started making this list a little earlier into the offseason, because if I would have done that, I would have had more time to like watch some film. I really want to go back to like NBA.com and just kind of see, can I watch some Grizzlies games and see why maybe these numbers say that? I don't have the time to do it, honestly, and I don't think I really would have had time even if I started earlier in the offseason, so it probably wasn't going to happen, bro. I'm a new father. Like, I have jobs. I have stuff to do, bro. Like, YouTube, unfortunately, isn't my full-time job yet, so, you know. Anyways, I'm just praying that I never get to the point where I look at Desmond Bane and be like, was he worth those picks that the Magic gave up to get him? Because that's the point that I got to with Mikal Bridges during the playoffs last year, and one bad playoff series from Desmond Bane might get me to that point with him on the Magic, and I'm really hoping I don't get there. Anyways, into the top 4. Amen Thompson. Let me take a sip of water real quick. Gotta hydrate. I'm going to tell you right now, this is a weird one. I had no idea where to position Amen Thompson, because last year I felt like he played a lot of different positions, and I felt like he has throughout his young career, and I don't know that I'm going to be 100% sure exactly what position I'll think of him as until the season starts and we see kind of what the more permanent starting lineup is going to be for Houston. And with that being said, they can still make a trade at the deadline that could do something, so we'll see what his position is really going to be, but the Rockets depth chart on ESPN has him as a 2-guard, so I'm going to consider him a 2-guard. He averaged 14, 8, and 4 last year on 55, 27, 68 splits with 2.5 stocks per game. You know the splits are bad, but you knew they were going to be bad. His offensive load is easily going to be the lowest of anyone on this list. And I think that even if he improves this year, which I think most of us expect he will, his offensive number, he still will probably have the lowest offensive load of anyone on this list. But this man might be the most athletic person in the NBA. He literally, and that's in a league with Anthony Edwards in it. He might be and Zion Williamson and John Morant. He might be the most athletic player in the NBA. And he's easily one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Like him and his brother, I think right now are probably both top 5 perimeter defenders in the league. And his brother might even be better than him defensively. Anyways, he finished 5th in DPOY voting last year. He was all defensive first team. He was a positive in every single on-off category besides offensive rebounding, which makes sense because when you think about it, when he's coming in the game, he's probably replacing a Dylan Brooks, who's like a bigger wing type of player, or a Jabari Smith, or an Alperen Sengun, or Steven Adams. Like he's replacing a guy that's getting a lot of rebounds for them. It's not too many times where he's going to be replacing Fred VanVleet, because I feel like a lot of times those guys were on the floor together, so Fred could kind of cancel out the negative spacing that is Amen Thompson. We'll see what that looks like this year because they don't have Fred. But anyways, in the playoffs, his numbers jumped up to 16, 7, and 3 on 49, 25, 69 splits with the same about 2.5 stocks. But you got to remember, this man was spending about 30 minutes per game in a 6-game series guarding Steph Curry. So that's pretty impressive when you think about it like that. Mind you, this guy's a second-year player. His box plus minus, defensive win shares, and total win shares all skyrocketed last year, up from his rookie season by a ton. A lot of them doubled up from his rookie season. I think his defensive win shares might have like tripled. But I might be thinking of the wrong stat. I'm not sure. But yeah, there's a lot to desire from Amin Thompson offensively with his shooting. That's all true. But he's one of the best defensive players in the league, and he's one of the best players at turning that defense into offense just because of his speed, his athleticism, the way he can just run in transition. He turns a steal or a block into a dunk almost every single time. And as long as he can do that while also just being a top 5 perimeter defender in the NBA, he'll always be on this list. And you got to remember, this man was coming off the bench for the first half of last season. And even though I'm not really as high on Houston now as I was like right after the KD trade or even 2 or 3 weeks ago before the Fred VanVleet injury, which I'll talk about in my predictions for the season, I am interested to see how good Amin Thompson will be as a full-time starter and just on as an integral player on a team that has a lot of expectations. Obviously, most of the stuff is on Kevin Durant, but Amin Thompson's a guy that has a lot of expectations. A lot of people are expecting him to progress to like an all-star level this year, and while I'm not sure that's going to happen, I am interested to see what he's going to look like this season. Now we're into the top 3. I think last year all 3 of these guys were probably interchangeable, but I kind of feel like these 3 are more solidified in their spots heading into the season. My number 3 is Devin Booker, and don't get me wrong, by the end of this year he could jump up because he's just that great of a player, he's that talented of a player, and I think I am that big of a fan of his that I think he could easily jump up for me, but I just think the order of these top 3 shooting guards is pretty solidified, like I said. I mean, this guy's easily one of the best scorers in the league. It's just so unfortunate that his team hasn't been built around him in the best way. I think his team really fumbled. I think his team should have gave it a little more time with the CP3, D-Book, KD, DeAndre Ayton squad. I think they should have gave that team a little bit more time because I think that team had the potential to be a really, really good team out west, and I just think they blew that up with DeAndre Ayton a little too quickly, and I get that they were annoyed with him, but it's like, in the few games they played together, I'm pretty sure the numbers were, like, phenomenal, like, out of this world good. And it's just, like, since then, they have never been that. Even when y'all made the playoffs, you get swept immediately. Like, the numbers have never been that good since, ever. And the fourth quarter numbers were never good since. Like, I'm talking about, we're some of the worst in the league. So, it's just unfortunate for Devin Booker, and I feel like because of that, his talent is starting to become a little forgotten about, a little underrated, just because of the drama around the team and how the team has been built. Like last year, the man averaged 25, 4, and 7 on 46, 33, 89 splits, and that's a down year for him. That's probably one of the worst years he's had. That's probably his worst year since maybe like the bubble year. And I feel like a lot of that's just because of the team. I feel like a lot of that's just because of the position he was put in, the things he was being asked to do that just don't fit him, because we know what Devin Booker can do when his team is built around him well. We watched him go to the finals and take a 2-0 lead in the finals. And I love Devin Booker, but it's just because of these things right now, there's just no conversation, I think, to have him above these other 2 guys, for me at least. I love Devin Booker. I'm a big fan of his. I just don't think that there's any way that you could convince me right now that he's better than either one of these 2 guys. Number 2, Donovan Mitchell. Again, I think it was obvious. I think, in my opinion, he's one of the most underrated guys in the league, and this is a guy that I feel like should be no lower than top 12 for every single person that talks about basketball, watches basketball, or thinks about basketball on a daily basis. He's one of the best scorers in the league. I would argue right now he's a better scorer than Donovan Mitchell. Than Devin Booker is, and that's saying a lot. He can get to the rim relentlessly, and mind you, this man is 6'3". He can score at all 3 levels, no matter what the defense is doing, no matter what defense he's going against, no matter if it's the playoffs or the regular season. He can get 50 on anybody. It doesn't matter if he's the only guy out there on his team that anybody respects to shoot. He will go out there and get 50. Doesn't matter at all, bro. And I feel like people are continuing to hate on him just because he hasn't made it past the second round yet, but more of that is based on the injuries, injuries of himself, injuries of his team, and based on players on his team rather than him. You got a year where Jared Allen's talking about the lights were too bright. You got Darius Garland who was hurt last year. You got Jared Allen who got hurt last year. You got 2 small guards in the backcourt. We still don't know if that's going to work. You got a big who hasn't played a good minute of playoff basketball since being in Cleveland. So it's like this is really the last year for that team, but it's not Donovan Mitchell's fault, in my opinion. And I feel like anybody that's been watching the playoffs will agree. You should see that man has been consistently dropping half of his team's points at any point at will in a playoff game and will still lose. It happened against Indiana, I think, once or twice because his teammates will get hurt or his teammates will not play well or his teammates will try to play through an injury and not play well, and he'll have 45 of his team's 97 points. And you're like, damn, they lost? And I feel like I don't need to talk numbers here. I don't need to tell you what he averaged. I shouldn't have to tell you what he averaged. You know how good he is. You know what he does, and you know how consistent he is no matter what. Number 1, Anthony Edwards. You knew who this was going to be. I don't have to say that much. He's number 1, and it's obvious. He took the shooting jump last year, and that shooting jump was so crazy that I think it solidified him as number one. Like, I think it would damn near take a lot for anybody to move him out of number one right now. And that's saying a lot, considering I just said that Donovan Mitchell is at worst the 12th best player in the league. With the shooting jump he took and the sustained playoff success that he's had in an extremely stacked Western Conference, when nobody has ever said that he's had the team to do it, is extremely impressive as a 24, 25-year-old guy. He's one of the most fun watches in the NBA, and he seems to genuinely love the game, to genuinely love to complete, and to genuinely love to grind and want to improve. If he comes into the season and takes a leap in an area like playmaking, or decides to lock in even more defensively, or does something like that, like he did with the three-point shooting last year, we might just be looking at him as the MVP of the league, and I just hit my funny bone. Oh. If he does that, we might just be looking at him as the MVP of the league. Because right now, he's probably, the 7th best player in the league at worst, 8th best player in the league at worst. If you have him anything lower than top 10, you're trolling. He takes another leap like he did with that three-point shooting last year in just another area of the game, and what are you going to be able to say about him? Nothing. That's my list, man. Top 5 small forwards tomorrow? Top 5 small forwards tomorrow. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching as always, man. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let me know what y'all think about my list. Drop y'all list. Let me know if y'all think I'm forgetting somebody, if y'all think I'm tripping with something, if y'all think I'm overestimating, underestimating somebody. If there's a name I didn't mention that I should have mentioned, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Please don't forget to keep God first as always, man. He's the greatest. Come to him with whatever's on your mind. Come to him with whatever you're struggling with. He's great enough for all of it. If you have doubts, if you have questions, if your faith is lacking, tell him. Don't be scared to tell him. Don't think he's going to banish you. Don't think he's going to say, forget me because I never knew you. He wants you to come to him and tell him. That's the enemy telling you that you shouldn't tell him. That's the enemy trying to diminish your relationship with God. You're looking at him as a human with human limitations. He's not. He's God. He's not going to be upset like a human is. He's not going to have his feelings hurt like a human is. He's not going to have that inch of narcissism like a human is. He's God. The all-knowing, all-powerful God. There is no name that matches his. There is no name that could match his. He's the one that rose his son from the dead to defeat death, sin, and the devil. You think he can't handle your emotions? Your emotions don't even make sense to me or you. My emotions don't even make sense to me sometimes. And you think God can't handle them. The God that made a planet that's just close enough to the sun that we don't burn up, but just far enough away that we don't freeze. Or the opposite way, but you know what I mean. You know, flip it around, but you know what I mean. The God that flooded the earth and then brought it back and then made a covenant with us in the form of a rainbow. The rainbow that has now been demented into another form. To say another thing that is not what God intended it to be shown for. I'm getting into something for another day. Don't hate the sinner, hate the sin. Please. Stop hating on people for the things that they struggle with. Hate the sin. God doesn't hate you for the sin that you struggle with. You've been struggling since you was 12. And God still don't hate you for it. And you hate somebody that's young and confused. 21 years old and confused. And you mad at them. Because they asking questions. Don't even make no sense. That's not godly. God didn't say that. God said love above all else. Love your brother like yourself. Love your brother as Christ loved you. Love is above all of these, he said. I'm preaching. Bye. I love y'all.